Welcome back. The White House is considering talks between President Joe Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping. Biden's national security advisor, Jake Sullivan, says that the two leaders are due to take stock of where we are in the relationship. Joining me right now is the Gatestone Institute senior fellow, the author of The Coming Collapse of China and the Great U.S.-China Tech War, Gordon Chang. Gordon, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. What do you make of this? Do you see President Biden and Xi Jinping having talks anytime soon? And let me just say, what are we at? 145 days that President Biden is in office, and he has still yet to raise the issue of the origins of the coronavirus with Xi Jinping. Will he raise it soon?
Yeah, I don't know. The State Department is saying, and Jake Sullivan, the national security advisor, is saying that talks with Xi Jinping and Biden are just a matter of when, not if. And basically, I think this is being pushed by the White House. They say, oh, personal diplomacy is absolutely essential. Well, when it comes to the Chinese, they are utterly ruthless, and personal feelings have no part in their calculations. And we have this notion, we just sit down and talk with them, they'll agree with us because we're Americans. No, if we don't talk to the Chinese, they'll worry. If they'll worry, they might actually start acting better. But clearly, chasing after them never works.
Well, I mean, when is he going to raise the origins of the coronavirus? We now understand that it likely came from the lab. We knew this a year ago, by the way. We reported it over a year ago. The circumstantial evidence points there. The next question has to be, why did they allow this to escape Wuhan? Why did they hurl this virus at the world? And was it intentional? What do we know about the origins of COVID and China's Communist Party's role in it?
Well, as virologists start to examine the virus itself, more and more of them are coming to the conclusion that this was engineered. There are unusual arrangements of amino acids that do not occur in nature, that are not likely to be the result of mutation. We have all sorts of other information pointing, as Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has said on Fox, every piece of evidence points to a lab leak. What is really distressing, though, is that President Biden had that 2-hour phone call with Xi Jinping in February, and by Biden's own admission, he didn't raise this. And we're now talking a situation where more than 600,000 Americans have succumbed to a disease where the Chinese, I believe, deliberately spread this beyond their borders by lying about contagiousness, by forcing countries to take arrivals from China while locking down their own country. That shows a maliciousness. That shows that this was more than just a negligent leak of the disease from China.
Yeah, Gordon, you make so many important points, and I've got to tell you, the media is not looking at any of this. Let's just review what the CCP did during year 2020. After this disease, this deadly virus is unleashed and allowed to escape the borders of China, they used the opportunity to, one, corner PPE, take all of the PPE on the market. I reported more than a year ago that my sources in hospitals were telling me these ships that were holding gloves and masks and all this other stuff were told to turn around, go back to China. That's one. Number two, they invaded India, killed 20 soldiers as they fought for the Himalayas. They invaded Hong Kong with their goose step police, started throwing people in jail, killing dissent. Jimmy Lai, a friend of this program, sits in a Chinese gulag as we speak, his assets seized. And look what happened this week. Go back down. Look what happened this week. The Apple Daily, Hong Kong police raiding the offices of pro-democracy newspaper Apple Daily. The publication is owned by Jimmy Lai. He's in prison, and it's now under the auspices of this new Beijing national security law. 5 employees were detained. Gordon, your thoughts? 500 Hong Kong police officers sifting through reporters' computers, notebooks at this newspaper office the other day. Police said the warrant was aimed at gathering evidence, including reporters' phones and computers. there's no media freedom in Hong Kong. Where is the outrage from the rest of the world as far as what China's Communist Party has done to Hong Kong in the last year? And I didn't even get into the bullying of its neighbors in the South China Sea. It's another thing that they did in 2020, Gordon.
Yes, well, you had someone named Joseph Biden who ran for president, who last year criticized President Trump for not raising human rights in Hong Kong, which President Trump did. But now Biden is on the spot because what happened a few hours ago when they arrested the editor-in-chief of Apple Daily, which is Hong Kong's main newspaper, and they arrested the CEO of Next Digital, the publisher of the paper, and as you point out, 5 other staffers. I mean, there's got to be statement and there's got to be action. More important, action from President Biden. Xi Jinping is just testing Biden, and he's doing all these things that you mentioned, and there's no reaction from the United States. There is no reaction.
None. But we did hear Biden say that he knows Xi Jinping better than any other leader, and he expects to take over America within 15 years. President Biden said that the other day. Gordon Chang, no words. Good to see you this morning, sir.